The vote was unanimous. 743 species stood in the Grand Assembly of the Galactic Order, their various appendages, tentacles, and energy fields raised in perfect synchronization. The translation matrices hummed with a single, devastating word repeated across 1,000 different languages: exile. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the human delegation podium, her weathered hands gripping the crystalline surface as the verdict echoed through the vast chamber. Around her, the other human representatives maintained their composure, even as the weight of galactic rejection settled upon their shoulders like a lead blanket. The species known as humanity is hereby expelled from the Galactic Order, announced Primarch Veltar, his 6 eyes blinking in what the humans had learned was the Zentaran equivalent of satisfaction. Your violent tendencies, your refusal to embrace the harmonious path, and your disturbing predilection for individual thought make you incompatible with civilized society. Sarah felt a familiar fire kindle in her chest, the same fire that had driven her ancestors to cross oceans in wooden ships, to split atoms, to reach for the stars when everyone said it was impossible. She straightened her spine and smiled. "We understand," she said simply, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustic systems. The assembled aliens had expected pleading, perhaps tears, maybe even violence. They got none of those things. Behind her, Admiral Rodriguez whispered, "Ma'am, perhaps we should—" "No," Sarah cut him off gently. "We're done here." The human delegation filed out of the chamber with quiet dignity, leaving behind 7 centuries of attempted diplomacy, trade agreements, and cultural exchange. As the doors sealed shut behind them, Sarah heard the excited chittering of the Velkari representatives, probably already planning how to divide up humanity's former territories. They would learn soon enough that humans didn't break easily. 3 months later, Commander Elena Vasquez watched the sleek warships of the Zentaran hegemony approach her mining station through the tactical display. The aliens had wasted no time claiming the asteroid belt that humans had been mining for over 2 decades. According to Galactic Order law, exiled species forfeited all rights to territory and resources. According to human law, they could go to hell. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Park reported from the communication station, "the Zentarans are demanding we evacuate immediately. They're claiming salvage rights to our equipment." Elena smiled the same smile her grandmother might have worn while facing down a pack of wolves. "Send a reply, Lieutenant. Tell them we're experiencing technical difficulties with our evacuation systems. Estimate, let's say 48 hours to resolve." "Ma'am?" Park looked confused. "Our systems are functioning perfectly." "Not anymore, they're not." Elena turned to her chief engineer. "Santos, I need you to make our fusion reactor very, very finicky. The kind of finicky that might result in a catastrophic overload if disturbed by, say, enemy weapons fire." Chief Santos, a woman who had spent 30 years making impossible machinery work in impossible conditions, grinned like a shark. "Oh, I can make it temperamental as a wet cat, Commander. The kind of temperamental that spreads to nearby ships if they get too close." The Zentaran fleet held position, unwilling to risk a fusion explosion that could cripple their pristine vessels. For 48 hours, they sent increasingly frantic demands while Elena's team worked around the clock. They weren't evacuating. They were digging in. When the deadline passed, Elena sent a final transmission. "This is Commander Vasquez of HFY, the Terran Mining Consortium. You want our rock? Come and take it." The Battle of Asteroid 2847 Delta lasted 18 hours. The Zentarans brought 12 heavy cruisers, expecting to sweep aside a small mining operation. They discovered instead that humans had spent those crucial 48 hours turning every piece of mining equipment into a weapon. Ore extractors became mass drivers, launching chunks of iron nickel at relativistic speeds. Tunneling charges, originally meant for breaking apart rock, proved equally effective at breaking apart hulls. The mining station itself, built to withstand the harsh environment of space, shrugged off weapons fire that would have vaporized a normal settlement. But the real surprise came when Admiral Chen's fleet arrived. For 3 months, while the Galactic Order congratulated itself on expelling the troublesome humans, Earth's shipyards had been working overtime. Every human colony, every outpost, every merchant vessel had been retrofitted with weapons that violated at least 17 different interstellar treaties. The Zentarans found themselves facing an enemy that fought like the very asteroids themselves, cold, implacable, and absolutely devastating when they hit. Unknown fleet, this is Admiral Chen of the Terran Defense Force, Sarah's daughter announced over open channels as her dreadnought emerged from behind the asteroid's shadow. You are trespassing in human space. You have 30 seconds to withdraw, or we will demonstrate why the Order was right to fear us. The Zentaran commander, faced with an enemy that had apparently materialized warships from thin air and was offering a gracious opportunity to retreat, made the wisest decision of his career. His fleet jumped to hyperspace with such haste that they left scorch marks on reality itself. 6 months after their exile, humanity controlled more territory than they had ever possessed as Order members. Mining operations turned into fortress worlds overnight. Trade routes became patrol zones. Every human settlement became a potential military base, defended by people who had learned that survival meant taking care of yourself. The galaxy watched in growing alarm as the exiled species spread across unclaimed systems like wildfire. Worse, they were thriving. Cut off from Order trade networks, humans simply built their own. Denied access to alien technology, they innovated. Solutions that were often better than what they'd been using before. Other species began to whisper that perhaps exile wasn't the punishment the Order had intended it to be. In her new office aboard the mobile command station Defiance, Admiral Sarah Chen reviewed reports from across human space. Colonies were growing. The fleet was expanding. Scientists freed from Order regulations were making breakthroughs that would have been impossible under the harmonious path. A chime indicated an incoming transmission. The holographic display showed Primarch Veltar, his 6 eyes displaying what the translation matrix interpreted as severe concern. Admiral Chen, the alien began, the Order has been discussing the situation. Perhaps we acted hastily. There might be room for negotiation. Primarch, Sarah interrupted, her voice carrying the same steel that had faced down exile with a smile. We tried negotiation for 700 years. We tried fitting in. We tried being the species you wanted us to be. She leaned forward, and her smile was sharp enough to cut starships. Now we're being the species we were always meant to be. How's that working out for you? The transmission ended, leaving Sarah alone with the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity was building something the galaxy had never seen before. A civilization that didn't ask permission to exist. They had been cast out, labeled too dangerous for civilized society. They had not flinched. And the galaxy was about to learn why that was a very, very dangerous thing.